What's going on, family? What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of Nightly Notions. I hope you are all doing well. You had a good weekend. It's been a few days since we've seen each other, so sending out my blessings, sending out my wishes, sending out positive vibes and positive messages to you all, family. Gentlemen, it's time to get active. It's time to get involved. It's time to get on your purpose. And I'm going to bring you another conversation to family. You see what I'm saying? Let's get in the conversation. Let's talk. It's going to be a heavy one. It's going to be a heavy one. But, sometimes we have to have that conversation and, get down in the dumps, get down into the real crux of the matter, be frank about issues, and, come to an agreement, come to an understanding, come to a conclusion where we can grow, where we can build, and where we can manifest. So, with all that being said, you can see the title. Today's episode, today's podcast, today's conversation is going to be about a video that I did. That I watched. I'm doing it. A video that I did. That I watched. I did it again. That I watched. A video that big shout out to ThoughtsCameraAction for doing this interview, and big shout out to Kwame Brown, because this gentleman that we're going to speak about is Judge Joe Brown. I don't know if you know about him, but he was the original Judge Judy on the platform, right? A real judge, who was taken into the TV platform. Melanated brother, strong, core masculine brother, and he was on the courts and he was dealing with all that Judy stuff before there was even a Judge Judy on the scene. But anyway, he did 2 interviews, one with Kwame Brown, so Busted Life on his YouTube channel, and another one with ThoughtsCameraAction on his YouTube channel. So big shout out to both those guys. You see what I'm saying? I've tagged the original video from ThoughtsCameraAction in the description below. I will do the Kwame Brown one as well, because I think both those conversations need to be brought to the forefront. So with that being said, before I play the video, let me just add it to the screen here, just to make sure. There's the video, right? But before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to preface that video with this scripture, right? Because we deal with the scripts over here on BLKMailTV, and we know what the answers are about, right? So let's go. Where is it? There we go. It's 1 Corinthians 6:9, right? Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, idolaters, or no adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind. So, let me stop sharing that. Just want to share that with the family, to let you guys know, and to let you guys see, to let you guys understand that even with our power, even with our spiritual being, even with our mindset, we're not supposed to be dealing with that, and there's a reason why. Now, like I said, I'm not no philosopher or PhD or any of that sort of nonsense. I'm just your regular guy, C student, right? And from what I've seen over time, growing up in Western civilization, is a push, is a agenda, the propaganda, is a message that is put out, and a teaching and a policy making within their government structure, within their social culture, that is put out to effeminize the modern man. Now, of course, being a melanated brother, I am within that system. So this agenda affects all of us. And what I found really deep about this video is we've got an elder here, Judge Joe Brown. And this is why you need the elders around. And I'm a big advocate for that, because the elders are the living, walking memory of the things that have happened aforetime. So when we sit down and have a conversation with an elder, we're supposed to humble ourselves, be quiet. Because the gems and the jewels that drop from an elder who was there, who lived it, who walked it, who saw the agenda, who saw the messages, is able to enlighten our mind and enlighten our spirit, so that we can assimilate that information and go forward onto the next generation. I know some of this conversation might be deep for some people, because we're talking about thought download, assimilating information and passing it on to the next generation. Some of our people are so gone and ignorant of knowledge that they don't understand this. But it's not too late. We can bring them back if they want to know. But anyway, So big shout out to Judge Joe Brown, because he was dropping some gems about history, about the past, and the history and the things that happened in the past is what affects us today, is what we live today. And what they like to do is make you not understand history. Why? Because those that don't understand history are doomed to repeat it. John Henry Clark said, history is a time clock that allows the people to know where they've been, where they are, and where they may be able to go. And when we eradicate and ignore our history and only assimilate the history that they give us through the mainstream media, social media, or smarmy talking points, we belittle and degrade ourselves. So Judge Joe Brown is going to expose this. Let's jump into the video and let's watch some of it, because you know I can monologue forever, right? But I just wanted to go into it and just talk a little bit about how when I was growing up, family, I saw this, I felt this. Let's be soft, let's be overly soft about, men speaking to each other, not giving men space to grow, no rites of passage for men, because contrary to popular belief, men and women grow different. I'm a father. I've grown a young man to 20 years old, and I have little young ones as well. And I understand that there's a fundamental difference between raising a girl and raising a boy. Boys have to go, speaking about the brothers for a second, have to go through a rites of passage. Within that rites of passage journey, they have to adopt principles, morals, and guidelines. Because at that level, at teenage level, only displaying surface level masculinity, because they haven't acquired those guidelines within themselves and buried within themselves to become second nature. They don't have that yet. That's what we call core masculinity. So what you have now, brothers, what I've seen is us growing up, right? And society stripped away the ability for men, for boys to grow into men. They took away the male influence. There are no male teachers in the school. There's no mentors around. And we saying it all the time, right? Do you think it's a coincidence? Let's be frank now, people. Let's stop playing games. This is the Babylonian beast system. And if you haven't woken up to that yet, then I'm sorry, but you need to wake up real quick. The matrix is real. And you need to decide which pill you want to take. But for those of us who have taken the pill to wake up and are spiritually awoken, let me give a big shout out to you. Big shout out, Royal Rising. Thank you for joining the conversation. Smash that like button on your way in, guys. Don't forget, subscribe and hit that bell notification. Big shout out to House of Blooms as well. And to everybody that's watching who's not jumped in the chat yet, big shout out to you. Much love. Let's be frank. Yes, that's right. Let's be frank about this. That's a little joke we had before, right? Let's be frank. Right? Let's be frank about it. Judge Joe Brown is going to speak about it right now. I'm talking about what I've seen in my lived experience. And this is an elder man who lives on the other side of the world, and he's going to tell you what he's lived and his experience. Now, I come from Africa, right? I am black. We're dealing with, there's no country called black, right? So if you think black, miss me with that, because this agenda is to hit black people. I'm speaking to my African brothers and sisters, whether you're African Caribbean or identify as African American, meaning descendant from Africans. If you ain't descendant from Africans, miss me with that. If you think you black, miss me with that. Because I don't want that black culture. I want African culture, African history. And what I'm seeing here is an attack on the modern man. And we happen to live in the West, so therefore that attack obviously falls on us as well. The feminization of the modern man. I grew up around it. And then what I see is the effects of it is growing up with men. Brothers having issues communicating, rolling with each other because brothers are too emotional. Why are you looking at me, man? Why are you looking at me this way, bro? I'll be in the club and a brother will step in another brother's shoes, and brothers will kill brothers over that. That's over effeminate. They can't control their emotions. They're insecure, jealousy, envy. All of those emotions are wrapped up into one, and it boils out to the point where, and as a man, they're not women, because women are more socially calibrated and deal with the heightened levels of emotion. But for a man to deal with that and not be balanced, this is why you have men have moral standards and discipline. Because a man is meant to be rock, he's meant to be foundational, he's meant to be consistent. Why? Because he's a logical, rational thinker. So things have to add up. 2 + 2 is 4, regardless of how he feels about it. So his mechanism and worldview is very different to a female view. So you advise a man, when you tell a man to only deal with think through his emotions and not through his logical thinking, because contrary to popular belief, men do have emotions. We just don't prioritize our decisions based upon our emotions. That's a core masculine man. An effeminate man would make decisions based upon his emotions. For example, and I used to say all the time, because these vex me when I was having the conversations with my sisters, and they're like, yeah, it's like he give me the baby and then he can tell. And I'm like, that's not man. That's like, it seems that in our culture we don't know the difference between a man and a male. A male gives you surface level masculinity, that thug behavior, dress a certain way to give you the image that he's hard. But a real hard man is a man of core masculinity. He's not hard because that's how he is. You see, okay, let me for a second. The problem that we have is perception. The fundamental definition of a core masculine man is a man with moral standards and principles, judgment, integrity, to hold true to those moral standards and principles even when nobody's looking. That's a core masculine man. Just keep it on the level, right? So when you have that man in those principles, when you look at other people, it seems that from the outside, it seems like, oh, he's hard, or he's uncompromising, or he's this perception of it. Because that a core masculine man is of rules, discipline to his innate nature. Whereas a surface level masculine man, male, is still those steps, by the rules and principles. The scripture says we were kept under the schoolmaster to bring them to Christ. The schoolmaster was the law. So for those people in Israel that kept the law, that's when you do Christ, now you do it. Now you do PhDs and doctorates, and you don't be told to get up and go to school and read your books. You don't need to be told to be at class at this certain time. You don't need to be told to wear your uniform this way, because it's ingrained in you. You don't need told to set a time to study, because you understand that level. Say yes, I'm jumping in and out. All right, family. 1 second. How about now? Let me know if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I think the US is online now. We're 5 hours ahead of them. This evening over in the USA. And when the USA come online, internet for the UK slows down drastically. So let me know if you can hear me. Still in and out, huh? Okay. Bear with me 1 second, family. Let me just see if I can adjust my microphone. I'm going to my settings. Let me go to my settings. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Still choppy. What is going on? Internet connection. 1 second, family. Okay, let me try this. All right, family, how does it sound now? Connection is unstable. If your Wi-Fi, yes, family, it's the Wi-Fi. It's really bad. How bad is it, guys? Bad is it? Sounds good at the moment. Okay, can you hear me now? This is really interesting because I'm right above the Wi-Fi and should be pretty. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, family, can you hear me now? Let me come and let me. Can you hear me now? I know you guys are saying it's really bad. Really copy as I'm saying. Put 2 in the chat. It's really clear. You can hear out what you can make out what I'm saying in the sentences. Put a 1 chat. But if really bad, put a 2 in the chat. Let me know. Because if I put my phone on in the chat, it will give me feedback as I'm live with the microphone. So some in the chat, Roy Rise, customizable UK, House of Blue, and then you put in the chat 1 or 2. 1, if you can still hear me, but it's a bit choppy, you can continue. Or 2, it's terrible. Chop it up and call it a night. What do you think? Let me know, family. And I will abide by you. You know, I don't really remember this LY right now. It's really me any. So okay, we got ones in the chat. Ones. Okay, I'll go with you guys. I'll keep going. Thank you guys. If it does, thanks for listening out. Please let me know. You know, start putting in 2 there so I can know which one it is, right? So anyway, what I was saying when I was about masculinity, right? And do what I was understood growing up. So the perspective, when you look from the outside, not understanding what goes into being called masculine man, you would see it as what they call alpha male. You know, that well, he's a alpha male, blah, blue. But I have to pause for a second and allow our people, especially my people, melanated people, you know, people, my SG family. We have to understand that our culture and the European culture is not the same. We don't come from the same history. So when they look at alpha males, they look at and they go back to the caveman days. Maybe play the video for now. Okay, sis. I'm just about to play the video after this. So bear with me for a second. Let me just finish this point and I'll be playing the video straight away. So, you know, they look at alpha male as a caveman, right? But that's not alpha male. So they're giving you a false sense of definition, false idea of what a man is. And what we see today, and I'm going to play the video, is a false sense of masculinity. So let me play the video. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Okay, Royal Risings, House of Blues. If the video is choppy,
a philosophical or political cause, it's manhood cause. So every morning to make the mirror is all it's what you're supposed to do today, or you do something weren't supposed to do today. So when you keep in mind and you have this cause where you're willing to sacrifice yourself for the cause, then you straighten up. People walk up to me, you remember me? No. Well, you gave me some time. I said, did I give you enough? Yeah, that ain't it, man. It's like that manhood thing, and I didn't understand until you start breaking it down. I ain't never been back from 2 jobs and around in the neighborhood. I'm trying to spread the word to. So that's the kind of thing you do where there's this family obligation. Back in the 60s, I was on the UCS campus. We had this thing we called the NOM, aka the Vietnam War going on. So what was going on is, war is a man thing. You understand that if we just change the way boys raise the men, they learn to emote, to try to shout, to let it all hang out, and trying to be so uptight and under self-control. War will end. They need to be raised. They touch with their soft criminal side.
So was that the inauguration of toxic masculinity? Was that kind of the framework behind that?
They weren't the only ones that were in on it. It had the man haters, the feminists, not feminine women, the feminists, the movement. We had the nascent LGBT thing, and we had what we called nerds or dorks then, that are now called soy boys, beta boys, who were white, who could not make it in a white man's world. So they wanted to destroy traditional masculinity because they said things like duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability, patriotism, and all this other stuff led to war. So what they did say on campus is that they were going to dedicate themselves to taking over the entertainment industry, television, motion picture production, and so forth, and the print media. And it has become a thing over the years where you get homosexuals and others gravitating to that particular industry, that breadth of industry, sort of you get gays in interior decorating and such like, or dance and such things. And what he wanted to do was, to the feminist side particularly, they hated men. So we had them going around the country and having speaker after speaker who would say that if you were a woman.
All right, family, I'm going to hold it there because I don't know if you guys can hear this properly because the internet is really bad for some strange reason. It's just never been that bad before. Family, if you can hear me right now, put a 1 in the chat or 2 in the chat because I don't want you to miss the information that's in here. So I would rather hold this off and do it again. You see what I'm saying? Because he was put some bars in there. And says, video is a little choppy, which is a big shit. No, the video ain't fine on my end. It's the internet, family. It's the internet. The video is playing on my end. So, okay, family, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about how to change this up because clearly in the evenings when America comes online with 5G, it really has changed the internet, you know, and what they're doing is down the internet to frustrate a lot of people so that you can all wait to 5G. So if you can't hear family, I'm very choppy and it's very bad. I do apologize for the sound quality. And that's just internet connection. There's nothing I can do on my end here. I've even gone downstairs to the internet box and put it out the window just to try and increase the internet. So I'm really, really, really upset, guys, that you can't hear the video properly. You can't hear me properly. Oh man. House of Blues were rising. Just put 1 or 2 in the chat. Just let me know. So the video is a little choppy, which is a big shame. All right, family. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it off for tonight, and maybe I'm gonna bring it back on tomorrow. Oh, hold up. You can hear me a lot better now. Okay, let me play the video. Let me know how the video's playing.
You needed to have your family without having a man, because men didn't do anything but mess up children. So just find some fool that had a good mind, physical body, get knocked up or get preggo, and have a baby. Then don't even tell him, because all he's gonna do is mess stuff up. Then you had an unfortunate situation that the Johnson administration caused, but they had good intentions, and that was the safety net. And one of the problems with the safety net is the public assistance that a woman got was dependent upon the number of children that she had. So
I'm going to slow this down.
Religious cause, a philosophical.
There we go. Let me add myself to the screen. There we go. So I'm going to slow this down. You guys are putting a 1 in the chat. Roland said you can hear me a little better now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video a little bit, and then we're going to go for it, and hopefully you guys can hear what he was saying. Let me try and use this one.
Wrong. So when I first started practicing law in the early 70s.
So what he's going to do, our family, is that he's going to talk about when he's practicing law in the early 70s. That's where the conversation is starting off right now. Okay, so
one of the number one cases that I wound up getting the check cut back on because some social worker is
hold on. Right, there we go.
So you have a cause. So what happens is it doesn't have to be a religious cause, a philosophical, or a political cause. It's a manhood cause. So every morning the man in the mirror says, "Oh, hey man, did you do what you were supposed to do today, or did you do something you weren't supposed to do today?" So
just to put in there, right? What he was saying was that obviously because of what happened in the modern era right now, in the last 50 or so, 60 years, there hasn't really been that great war like in World War I and World War II. So what's happened is that the great battle, the great war has been on manhood, right? And he's going to explain what took place during the 50s, 60s, and 70s concerning war and concerning manhood, predominantly in Western culture. Okay, so I'm going to put the video. Let's get back in. I hope you can hear it, but like I said, I'm going to give a commentary on it as we're going to go through. It's only a 5-minute video, so
you keep that in mind, and you got this cause where you're rather willing to sacrifice yourself for this cause, and then you straighten up. People walk up to me today, you remember me? No. Well, you gave me some time. I said, did I give you enough? Oh, yeah. See, but that ain't it, man. It's like that manhood thing, man. I did not understand until you started breaking it down. Now, man, I got grandchildren, man.
What he was just saying, family, was that, as a judge, he sent a lot of men to prison, to jail. And what he was saying is that there's a few of them that he met later on in life came up to him and were like, "Hey, judge, thank you, for, I didn't understand the manhood thing you were trying to explain to me back in the day when I was in front of you in the courtroom."
I said, "Bitch, who raised you?"
And, they were like trying to have the conversation with him to let him know that they were thanking him for, shaping them up, making sure that they were doing the right thing. Basically, acting like a fool and a thug and a clown.
Circus, Afro circus, Afro circus, Afro polka dot, Afro.
You feel me? So anyway, let's get back to it again.
I ain't never been back from. Got 2 jobs, man, and a bunch of boys around in the neighborhood I'm trying to spread the word to. So that's the kind of thing you do with passes on. There's mainly obligation. But
all right, so let me stop right there. So what he was just expressing right there, family, right? I hope everything's good. I hope the sound is good and you can see the video. So what he was saying right there, that gentleman that spoke to him and was saying that, thanking him for, even though he sent him to jail, which, hey, you did the crime, you do the time. So even though he sent him to jail, when he came out on the other side, he straightened his life out. He was talking about he had 2 jobs, you know, he had children, and he was now passing that knowledge on. That rites of passage that he went through, even though it was not the one you're supposed to go through. That rites of passage that he went through, being locked up, being told about masculine man and how to be a masculine man, meeting the judge, going through that experience, he was able to now come on the other side and pass that thing on, that knowledge on to a younger generation, right? His children and, you know, the community around him. So this is the importance and why we're saying on why we're over here at this platform are talking about men need to get back on their purpose and on their square, and in the spirit of core masculinity, which is a set of rules, morals, and discipline. That's what it is. And if you don't know which way to turn to, because I know there's many philosophies out there, you know, but LSG, love, support equals, that's it. Very simple, but let's keep going.
Back in the 60s, when I was on the UCLA's campus, we had this thing we called NAM, the Vietnam War going on. So
now he's talking about the 60s, he's talking about, you know, Vietnam 60s and 70s. He's going to now make the explanation of what was going on socially around that time. Okay, family, let's pay attention. Let's get back into the video. Quick, don't forget to like the video, guys. Don't forget to smash that bell notification so you today bring out the latest videos, have more of these conversations. So let me hit it.
So what was going on is war is a man thing. You understand that if we just change the way boys will raise the men, so they learn to emote, to cry, to shout, the little dog hang out instead of trying to be so uptight and under self-control.
I said, bitch, who raised you?
So you can see right here, family, right? What the agenda is during that time. They said make love, not war. Remember all that hippie stuff? Yeah, they were saying then, this is what the judge is revealing. They were saying then that war is a man thing. So war is caused by men. Notice how they said men, right? That's all men, correct? Okay, watch this, family. And this is why it's very disingenuous how they deluded our sisters into believing this nonsense. And obviously our brothers also. When has us melanated brothers and sisters in the last 100 years had enough power to cause war on this earth? Somebody show me the history. Find amongst ourselves, okay. But show me where we as a people have gone out into the world, conquering, pillaging, robbing, destroying our people's nations, imposing our so-called way of governance, democracy upon people. Show me history. So when we talk about men doing this, men, that general blanket statement, yo, you need to check who is doing this stuff. Accountability is due where accountability is due. Blame is due where blame is due. Don't just lump all men into the same brush. No. And this goes back into that feminist, womanist, modernist idea, because when they say men used to oppress women, excuse me, when I look at the history, my foreparents were enslaved. We weren't impressing nobody. So let's understand what's going on here. There's an agenda here. And we are all being played. White, black, Asian, whatever you are, you're all being made. So long as you are in this Western construct and under the beast system, you're being played against your own people. Let's go on.
Be raised as girls, so they're in touch with their inner softer and
so
that's correct.
So was that the inauguration of toxic masculinity? Was that kind
so if you see right here, he's saying the first agenda was to blame men for the cause of war, and then in order to stop war from happening, their idea was to make men be more in touch with their feminine side. Remember the scripture I read earlier, 1 Corinthians 6 and 9? If you don't know the scripture, go look it up. 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. Those of you that believe scriptures and understand that there's a higher power than the heavenly creator, read that scripture, man. Because it clearly says in the scripture, effeminate people, men, shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven. You're not going to be in the next awakening. You're getting played, family. We need to snap out of it. We need to wake up because time is of the essence. 2030 is around the corner. The Great Reset has already started. The fourth industrial revolution is on the way. AI and robotics is around the corner. There is going to be a new social structure, a new social dynamic in the West Hemisphere. And if you are not awake to what's being played, you're going to get played along with everybody else. Wake up. So get into the end. Yeah, family. Yo, you know I'm going to play it right. You know I'm going to play it right.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, and I make mental health education videos. A delusion is a fixed false belief. And despite evidence that goes against what you believe, you still believe it.
You still believe, family? Wake up. Wake up. I know it feels like you're sucking on lemons, but you got to suck the lemon and wake up. All right, let's play the video. Let's play the video.
The framework behind that.
They aren't the only one who ran on it. Then we had the man haters, feminists, not feminine women, feminists as a movement.
So you had the feminist movement, not feminist movement during that time, right? And we're talking about civil rights. So when we as men and women of the melanated community were arguing for not civil rights, we were fighting for economic rights. Because I don't want civil rights. Forget that. I don't care if I don't need to eat at some European person's bar or club. Forget that foolishness. I don't need to go to their school. We have our own schools. We have the ability to do these things. We don't need that. What we want was economic opportunity to be able to have access to economics and resources. That was what the march was supposed to be about. But they turned it into civil rights. Why? So they can go over here. Look at the sign. When you look at the sign. This is during the civil rights time. Look what they got there. Gay power at the top, black power underneath, women power. Hold on, my sisters. Let me ask you this. This is what they call. This is where the devil comes to deny, divide, and destroy. So look, the accuser, whatever you want to call him, right? Look what he got there. It's got black power and women power. Sisters, are you not black? Is your skin not melanated? That's a division when you think that you as a woman is different from you, part of the melanated community. That's how they divide us against each other. No, because when we was in slavery, there went no women power up in there. We was both in chains. Fam, recognize that. Still there today. But the difference between then and now is then our sisters were still with us. Now, nah. We come back fully and check this, because you need to understand the feminization of men is an agenda that they put in, and they're just gonna break it down. This is 60s. He's already told you that the first agenda that they said was blaming men for war, and therefore we must make them effeminate, teaching them feminine things. This is an agenda, policy, written, thought of, executed. Let's keep going.
We had the nascent LGBT thing, and we had what we called nerds or dorks then, that are now called soy boys or beta boys, who were white and couldn't make it in a white man. So they wanted to destroy traditional masculinity, things like duty, obligation, responsibility, accountability, patriotism.
Are you hearing that? They wanted to destroy masculinity, responsibility, accountability, discipline. These are attributes, characteristics, ladies and gentlemen, that we are telling our people that we need to adopt more. That's what makes us high people. That makes us royalty. That's what Christ came to show us. Religious side, look at the principles of the fruits of the Spirit, and you understand that he's talking about love, temperance, patience, charity, long-suffering, empathy, integrity, honor, truth. These are core fundamental principles that make a core masculine man. And why Christ said the man is the head of the household, because if you have a man that is in these principles, sisters, this is the type of man you should head down with. This is the type of man you should have children with. This is the type of man you want to be submissive to. Not these boy, beta boys, fake thug brothers running around with their emotional self, stabbing each other around the back, wearing urban clothing with their jeans off down their ass. Family, I'm a grown man. I wear grown clothes. You need to look around, sisters, brothers. If you look at yourself in the mirror, bro. I'm sorry, family. Sisters, 1 second. Look at yourself in the mirror, family. And if you look like your son at 20 and you're 40 and you look like your son, something ain't right, bro. Group ethic image. Because when you look like a boy, this is the continuation of the effeminate mindset. This is my observation. Remember, I'm just a C student. I'm not a PhD. I'm not a scholar. I'm just a guy sitting here and I'm looking at this and I'm like, hold on a second. What is going on? And I'm critically assessing and looking at things and I'm like, hold on. This pants sagging, new era hat wearing, shoes wearing, that's the only look we're running with. And there's so many diverse looks and cultures and styles that we have, but that's an effeminate look because you're staying like a boy forever. Grown men looking like boys. I walked into the shop the other day. The guy started to talk to me. I'm NIGGA. I'm like, bruh, I'm married with kids. I work. Don't talk to me like that, bro. I ain't that dude for you. He has to check himself because we have a group ethnic image. Let's play the video.
Patriotism and all this other stuff led to war. So what they did say on campus is that they were going to dedicate themselves to taking over the entertainment industry.
Can see that.
Oh, let me put this in there. See, he said about the entertainment industry. They said, what did he say? They put civil activists within the LGBT community into the entertainment system. Ro Rising just dropped a comment. She said, all these grown men are so-called rappers called Da Baby. Thank you. Children, pants sagging, little baby, little Uzi, but I don't even know the name of these people, man. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Act like children, acting like adolescents, meaning you are devoid of responsibility, accountability, integrity, honor, truth, discipline. And then we look around and we wonder why the men acting like young boys. When they see a core masculine man, guess what happens? Men don't know how to interact with a core masculine man. They either get in their feelings, feel insecure, envy, jealousy, and then try to cause an issue or separate themselves because they're emotional. They can't deal with a core masculine man who deals with principles, truth, discipline, integrity. I'm not moving off that. They're like, oh, snap. What? Recognize the people and the spirits that's running around in the system. We live in the beast system. Wake up. Prophecies are happening all over the place. There's a plague in Australia of mice terrorizing 4 different cities. They call it army of mice. Go look it up. Google it. Let's carry on, man. Let's get into this.
Motion picture production and so forth, and the print media. And it has become a thing over the years where you get homosexuals and others gravitating to that particular industry or that breadth of industry, sort of like you get gays in interior decorating and such, like, or dance and such things.
Yeah, read this quote, man. Read this quote. Melanated people can't get a job, but if you want to lead the LGBT parade, they will reserve a spot for you. That's a quote by Neely Fuller in 1974. When I checked out BLM, Black Lives Matter, I went to their website, right, to check the group. When I read their dossier and their bio, there was no mention of black men, melanated men. It was for every other group within the black community, division once more, but not for the black man. And we push this and perpetuate this. We support this. We need to check ourselves, man. We need to check ourselves. All right, continue.
And what they wanted to do was to the feminist side, particularly,
Hello, family. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I apologize. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. We had some technical difficulties with the internet. It went absolutely nuts. So just let me know if you can hear me at this moment in time while I try and set up everything else that literally just went nuts. I do apologize, family. Do apologize. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? 111. Oh, thank goodness. Big shout out to you, Royal Rising, staying with the conversations. Yes, yes, yes. Internet. I had to. It's family. The internet went completely nuts. Everything, StreamYard just froze me out. So I literally had to go downstairs, unplug the internet, replug the internet, reset the internet, and take it from there. And sorry, so I do apologize for that. What I'll do for next time is reset the internet before I go live, just to make sure that it's been rebooted. So, it sounds like the interruption did me good, huh? Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Much love to the Blackmail TV family. Apologies for the sound and the cutout from the stream. You can hear me very well. Thank you. Okay, we're good to go. Okay. And again, just please let me know if you can hear the video well, so that
what happens, see, it doesn't have to be a religious cause, a philosophical or a political cause. It's a manhood cause.
So you can hear the video okay? Everything was good? It's okay. Okay. I'll take that, Royal Risings. I will take that. Yeah, so let me just play the video and I'll stop it back at where we were so that you can just hear it.
So every morning, the man in the mirror says, "Oh, hey, man, did you do what you were supposed to do today? Or did you do something you weren't supposed to do today?" So when you keep that in mind and you got this cause where you're rather willing to sacrifice yourself for this cause, then you straighten up. People walk up to me today, "Judge, man, you remember me?" "No." "Well, you gave me some time." I said, "Did I give you enough?" "Oh, yeah, see, but that ain't it, man." It's like that manhood thing, man, I did not understand until you started breaking it down. Now, man, I got grandchildren, man, I ain't never been back in trouble. Got 2 jobs, man, and a bunch of boys around in the neighborhood I'm trying to spread the word to. So see, that's the kind of thing you do where it passes on. There's this manly obligation. But back in the 60s, when I was on the UCLA's campus, we had this thing we called the NAM, aka the Vietnam War, going on. So what was going on is, war is a man thing. You understand that if we just change the way boys are raised to men, so they learn to emote, to cry, to shout, to let it all hang out instead of trying to be so uptight and under self-control, war will end. They need to be raised.
Whining and bumbling.
This girl, so they're in touch with their inner, softer, emotional side. That's correct.
So was that the inauguration of toxic masculinity? Was that kind of the framework behind it?
They were in on it. Then we had the man haters, the feminists, but not the feminists as a movement. We had the nascent LGBT thing, and we had what we called nerds or dorks then that are now called soy boys or beta boys who were white and could not make it in a white man's world. So they wanted to destroy traditional masculinity because they said things like duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability, patriotism, and all this other stuff led to war. So what they did say on campus is that they were going to dedicate themselves to taking over the entertainment industry.
Can see that.
motion picture production.
Hold up. Wait a minute. You hear what he said, right? This is in the 60s and 70s. They said that they're gonna take over in order to feminize men. They're gonna take over the entertainment industry, the movie industry. They push the LGBTQ agenda into these markets and into the media, into the mainstream. That's what he just said, family. So pay attention. Pay attention. People sat around the room and thought about this. The judge is exposing what happened. This is history. This is lived history. Let's go on.
And so forth, and the print media. And it has become a thing over the years where you get homosexuals and others gravitating to that particular industry or that breadth of industry, sort of like you get gays.
God, let me just pause it right there, right? Let me show you this picture real quick. Because we went from this, if you remember blaxploitation, right? We went from this. Where is it now? There you go. I hope you can see that, right? You went from this. You see the brother on the side, the soul brother. I need to play them funky music. Shaft and all the rest of that. You know what I'm saying? We went from them kind of brothers, you know, Black Panthers, Mans in Gloves, all the rest of that, to, no offense, again, another Little Nas, no offense. And I saw he's dancing on the devil video. Listen, my eyes got corrupted. You know what I'm saying? Corrupted. When I saw that video, I was like, oh my day, someone needs to burn out my friggin' eyes. But anyway, let's get back into the video. So I'm just letting you know, family, right? An agenda. So when I say it's time for us to wake up, I'm not talking about this fake wokeness. No, we're talking about really waking up, really going down the rabbit hole and realizing how deep the matrix is. But let's go on. Come on, Judge. Big up Judge Joe Brown. Big up, Kwame Brown, Bust Life. Big up Thoughts Camera Action. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to those guys for, bringing Judge Joe Brown out and allowing him to speak on these things, man.
He's in interior decorating and such, like, or dance and such things. And what they wanted to do was, to the feminist side particularly, they hated men. So
the feminists hated men. Understand this back in the day, right? They hated men. So you can hear when I grew up hearing this narrative that men ain't this. This is over my head as a child growing up, hearing this in the community from our sisters who say they love us. But I'm growing up hearing men are dogs, men are this, men are that, blah, blah, blah. But then when I'm growing up, I'm seeing our sisters dealing with the same caliber and type of man over and over and over again. I'm like, what's going on here? Let's understand.
You had them going around the country and having speaker after speaker who would say that if you were a woman, you needed to have your family without having a man, because men didn't do anything but mess up children.
Are you hearing that, family? They went around university, schools, media, write papers, everything, telling women that you don't need men because men mess up children. That was what they told women. That's what they convinced women. That's what you call propaganda. Same thing as Goebbels and the Third Reich in Germany with World War II. Propaganda. The same way Birth of a Nation with Griffith, G.W. Griffith, with Birth of a Nation, making us to be watermelon chicken eating pickaninnies. You understand what I'm saying? Image, ethnic image. Roy Rising drops a comment. She says, that's why Kevin Samuels and people like him are hated. Notice Kevin is getting 1 million subscribers and yet no blue tick. Exactly. I've seen it. I think they might have given it to him now, especially on his Instagram, because I think I saw a blue check mark the other day. But yes, sis, I noticed that no blue tick as well. But definitely go back and check. I think they might have given it to him now, but check. There's an agenda. This is why we need our own media, because we need to be able to tell our brothers and sisters that, hey, the war is not over. Yeah, we lost a few battles, family, but the war is not over. Racism is a collective group effort. Collective group effort, family. So while we are fighting amongst ourselves, the other groups are racing ahead. Let's stop doing that. That's all I'm saying. But what do I know? I'm just a guy, right? So anyway, this is an agenda, family, that they pushed on the women to tell women that you don't need the man in the house. And what do we have now in 2021? I grew up hearing, oh, I don't need no man. I can do it on my own. You didn't manifest that. That was an agenda that was pushed to you. That was propaganda put into your mind to tell you you don't need a man. Why? Because they wanted you to think that men are the cause of war. Watch this. Let's keep reading. What else did they do?
So just find some fool that had a good mind, physical body, get knocked up.
What? Hold on. What do they tell women to do?
Mind, physical body.
Sisters, if you've heard this before, please put a 1 in the chat and let me know, because I really want our sisters to come to the truth and, you know, expose this thing that's happened to our people, this demonic, satanic agenda that's happened to our people. You see what I'm saying? We need to expose that. Right? So sisters, if you've heard this, put a 1 in the chat. And for anyone else who hears this video later on, right, leave a comment down below in the comment section, because they are telling women during the 60s, you don't need no man, right? What else did they tell the sisters?
Get knocked up or get prego and, you know, have a baby, then don't even tell him, because all he's going to do is mess stuff up. Then you had an unfortunate situation.
So they said, don't bring the man into the household because he's only going to mess stuff up. That's 2. Let's see what else.
The Johnson administration caused, but they had good intentions, and that was the safety net. And one of the problems with the safety net is the public assistance that a woman got was dependent upon the number of children that she had, so they tended to have more.
So let me just pause right there. He's talking about social services. He's talking about assistance. You know, it's different in different countries in the Western construct. But essentially what he's talking about is benefits over here for us in the UK, right? So what he's saying is the agenda was back then to let women know that depending on the number of children you had, depending on the number of resources you received from the state. That was the same here in the UK. That was the same here in the UK. Agendas, family. Let's keep going.
To increase the size of the check that they got.
And then
that was
did that start to push out the man then at that point?
Yeah,
So,
well, the man wasn't so much pushed out by that, but a lot of the social welfare departments in the various of the 50 states had the idea that if there was a man around, something was going wrong. So when I first started practicing law,
He said that they said that if there was a man around, then that means something was going wrong. This is the state. If you as a woman had a man around, something was going wrong. The more children you had, the more resources or the finances the state gave you. This was what they set up back then in the 60s and 70s, right? In America. But we also have a benefit system here in the UK that did the exact same thing. So watch the agenda, family. Let's see. Destruction of the family. Let me read some of these chats real quick. House of Bloom says, I grew up with a school friend who always said she wanted to be a single mother because you don't need a dad to be around, just the mom. Yes, she was coming from a single parent household. Okay, so thank you for that, you know, for that truth, for that information, because we need more sisters and more brothers to accept that we come from a single parent household because there was an agenda orchestrated to make it that way, to separate the man and the woman from the union of family, because families build communities, because men who have children and wives want to protect and deal with core masculine principles and therefore build a secure environment for those people, communities. House of Bloom says the level of dissonance is real delusion. That's right. Roy Rising says this would have been an introduction of the independent woman. There you go, sis. You got it in one, sis. You see where they're going, sis? Do you see where it's going? I don't need no man. And then we move into the 80s where it's the independent woman with Oprah and Ricky Lake and, you know, Sally Jesse Raphael, Maury, all the rest of that, right? Are you seeing it? You're seeing the pattern, sis. Now, sis, I'm just a regular guy. So if I can see this as a regular guy, you know, I'm a C student. Hey, I don't make no bones about it. There's smarter people than me out in the world. I'll definitely tip my hat off to them. But if I can see this, what is going on with the people who are in a higher position and a higher status? What are they seeing? What are they doing? Are they just going along to get along? What's going on? Well, let's continue anyway. Let's see what else the women were told to do.
In the early 70s, one of the number one cases that I wound up getting was getting the check cut back on because some social worker espied one of the multiple fathers going in trying to be a good dad to the boys in the household. They didn't want that. So that cascaded those three things. And then we had this other bit when you talk about toxic masculinity. They wanted to hold that all masculinity was toxic. And they laid out this careful 50.
Now, watch this. Their agenda was that all masculinity was toxic. Listen very carefully. All, not some, all masculinity was toxic. That means accountability, responsibility, discipline, moral standards, and integrity. These are qualities that are incumbent upon having a father, a husband, a brother, a community. And they said this was bad. So they convinced our sisters. This is why I say our sisters have left the table. Because sisters, men aren't saying, I'm an independent man, I don't need no woman. This is an agenda. This is propaganda. That's why our sisters, you ask them the same question, they all say the same thing. It's mind control. MK Ultra. I might get banned and shadow banned for this. This is why I need your support, family. Don't worry, we're going to be setting up the Patreon anyway so that we can have those frank conversations on there. Family, MK Ultra mind programming control. This is in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And you can see where it's leading, right? I don't need no man in the household. The social services are paying you to have more children. And he just mentioned a case where a young man, the social worker put the young man and said the young man was in the life and he was good and working and this, that, and the other. And that caused problems. The system is designed for your downfall. And I've got brothers and sisters in our community who think they're black, but really they descend from Africans or Israelites. And they're saying, oh, well, you know, let's fight for the system. Nah, the system is finished, man. The system is finished. Sister says, people in higher positions are paid to turn a blind eye. Yeah, sis, I'm going to talk about that. Go along to get along. We're going to talk about that. Big shout out to Kwame Brown for, you know, speaking about that. She said, most are led by greed of money over ethics. And that's where it is right there. Money over ethics. Money over ethics every time. So let me play it again. Let's continue. We're almost done, family. It's almost the end of the video. So let's see the final key to destroy. A 50-year plan.
Literally 50-year-long campaign of propaganda.
Can I ask a question?
So that's where I stopped the video, right? So I stopped the video there, guys. It's an hour and something video. I'm gonna chop. Excuse me. I'm going to chop some more of it, bring it down. Let's dissect it. Let's have a bit more understanding and go deeper into the mindset and the agenda that was perpetrated on us. Because we're fighting each other, and I'm saying, fam, the fight is not with each other. The fight is outside of us. We're supposed to be building in this time where there's a new age happening. There's a transformation happening right now, family. For those of us that are spiritually awakened, big shout out to the Israel. Big shout out to the believers, man. If you don't believe, that's cool. There will come a time when you're going to know. But I don't hold it against you. But you have to understand that the fight is not with us. The fight is to come together in moral standards and principles, integrity, honor, and that is love. The emotional attachments that they've given you, the fleeting things, those are not love, family. Right? That's not love, man. Those are things to keep you separated, to keep you divided, and to take you out of your power. And the rich and the elite are sitting there laughing at you, coming like,
Gotcha, bitch.
listen, anybody got
time for that?
It's time. It's time. It's time to get active. It's time to stand in your square. It's time to move on your purpose. It's time, family.
Okay.
You hearing me? It's time, man. Let's stop being scared. Let's stop being afraid. Let's stop being in doubt. Let's stop being in division. Let's stop being in derision with each other. Excuse me. And understand that we are greater together than apart. Yeah, we got to finish this mission, man. It ain't over yet. So anyway, family, before I jump out, let me just play this real quick. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, I've started designing some merchandise for the BLKMailTV family. You see what I'm saying? Big shout out to PTL Enterprises over on Instagram, Lola Porter, because she purchased one already. You see what I'm saying? So let me just play this for you guys quickly. Yeah, so like I said, some merch is out now, family. You can get that link on our Instagram, on our link tree, or on the description on our channel description. And go over there and get yourself a BLKMailTV hoodie, t-shirt, more designs coming out. So watch this space. I actually forgot to play the advert because we had that technical glitch. But once again, I want to say a big shout out to my family. I do apologize for the technical glitch. I hope you guys had, we had an interesting time. We had fun. And because of the glitch, I'm going to give myself a slap. All right. That's one for me to make sure that I get my game back on point and make sure, my internet game is sorted out. All right. I can't be having you guys laughing at me now, can I? So what I will say, family, is much love. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? For coming down, making sure that, we're having this conversation. Group ethnic image, family. If there's anything you're going to take away from this, understand that the feminization of men is an agenda. The independent woman, that's an agenda. That was taught. Somebody thought about that in a room. So recognize where you're standing. Recognize what you're saying. Recognize the perspective you're coming from, and hopefully with more information, you can be more informed to make wiser and better decisions going forward. Each one teach one, family. We're only here to grow together. So join the BLKMailTV family. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification. And family, I will see you later.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And that's all, folks.